Now we stay with Chad for our next story, where France has started a military withdrawal after the Central African country ended a key defense pact with its former colonizer, calling it a historic turning point. France has now withdrawn its fighter jets from Chad. The French Defense Ministry said the move came after a disagreement with the Chadian authorities. France flew out 2 Mirage 2000D fighter jets and a tanker aeroplane that it had stationed in Chad's capital. The Chadian military forces wished the jets farewell as they headed back to an Air Force base in Nancy in eastern France. Now, the 2 fighters were stationed at the Cossé Air Base in N'Djamena, which is a French military base. The departure marks the first stage of the disengagement of the French military forces stationed in Chad before the gradual withdrawal of the ground forces in the weeks ahead. France still has about 1,000 troops in Chad. On the 28th of November, N'Djamena too had ended a defense accord with Paris that dated back to its independence in 1960. The decision was widely backed by citizens in Chad, with rallies in the capital city. Last week, hundreds marched in N'Djamena to call for the withdrawal of the French troops. They chanted "France out" slogans and held banners that read they do not want to see any French person in Chad. According to French media, a row erupted between the 2 countries over security and diplomatic disagreements. Now, reports say the French army refused to provide aerial support and intelligence to Chadian authorities in October when they were facing an attack by Boko Haram terrorists. Reports also say that French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot's remarks during a visit to Chad in late November also sparked tensions. The French minister reportedly recommended Chad postpone elections that were scheduled for December. Chad had been a key link in France's military presence in Africa. It was France's last foothold in the Sahel region after its troops were ousted by the juntas in Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger. For years, French forces, along with regional troops, had been fighting Islamic terrorists. Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso said the Western troops had failed to counter the insurgency. So the junta-ruled states turned to Russia for security assistance. Russia has its mercenary forces deployed across the Sahel, which experts say is current epicenter of global terrorism. The end of Chad's defense pact with France raises questions about who N'Djamena could turn to next and what it could mean for the region. The landlocked nation faces a potent threat from Boko Haram and other terrorist groups. Its decision has certainly marked a shift from Western influence in the Sahel, creating an opening for other global powers. So, who could these new players be? Now, most of Chad's neighbors are already Russian allies, like Sudan, Libya, Niger, and the Central African Republic. Russia's influence has been gaining momentum as that of the US and France fades. Now, Chad has received military aid from the United Arab Emirates. It has received weapons from Israel, and it has also acquired Turkish training aircraft and drones. And now it's exploring ties with Russia and Hungary. In addition, Chad could also strengthen military cooperation with Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, and those are members of the Alliance of the Sahel States, to boost counterterrorism in the region. But the current global uncertainties, including the collapse of Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria, signal the weakness of Assad's backers, such as Russia and Iran. On the other hand, it enhances the influence of Turkey and Israel, who oppose his regime. Now, Chad's leader, General Mohamed Idris Deby, has sought closer ties with Moscow, but talks to strengthen cooperation are yet to bear concrete results. So, the ongoing geopolitical shifts could influence Chad's choice of partners and could also prompt other Sahel nations to reassess their alliances.